Being a musician, being in bands, sometimes we're crazy, right? Sometimes musicians can be absolutely out of their minds. And man, I've had those moments in my life where I was like that. And, and that kind of energy that we put out, that wild energy that you put out on stage and you do, that can be attractive to people that are like-minded. You can tend to attract people that are wild, or people that are out of control, or people that are living on the edge. And that can be the reality of being a musician. You're in wild environments, you're working in bars, you're working, or maybe you're on the road, and being on the road is like being a pirate. You're on a pirate ship traveling across the country, and you're ravaging and pillaging and all of these things, right? And the same thing can be said if you're just playing in the bars. And imagine playing in a band on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, or imagine playing Broadway in downtown Nashville, or playing the Sunset Strip back in the day. And it seems kind of glamorous to somebody that's not on the stage. They look up at somebody that's on the stage, and it can be the ultimate aphrodisiac. I've seen, people that girls wouldn't take a second look at. And as soon as they're up on the stage, and I've been that guy. I've been the guy where, girls won't even look twice at you. And then all of a sudden, sometimes all it takes is one song. You play a certain song, and you play an amazing guitar solo, or you sing, or something happens, and it's a magical moment. And all of a sudden, man, you could become the most attractive person, in the world. And you could literally, if you're married or you're spoken for, you could literally have to almost put the wall up, so that you don't get unwanted attention. But, if you're single, it can be a good thing. But man, sometimes what you attract either people who think they can change you. They see that you're a talented person and that you're someone of value, but they still, in the back of their mind, they think, well, he's a musician, but maybe I can change him. Okay. Or maybe they think that they can fix you. Right. And I think the same thing goes with guys and some of the women that we get. I had somebody on one of the comments talking about musicians, and this tragic thing that happened recently, and I'm not even going to go into the story. I'm sure people already kind of know what I'm alluding to. But we can tend to attract people that are maybe unstable. Maybe we're considered unstable as musicians. Maybe we live a wild lifestyle. Maybe we've been through a lot. Maybe we've done things that we're not proud of. And often I think we seek out people that are like us. You want to date somebody that's like you. You want to have something in common. And I was the same way. Once I had been through the ringer and through the clubs, almost needed to find somebody that, I maybe felt like had experienced some life. You couldn't just relate to somebody that's just, went to Harvard and, they don't have any idea about hardship or being through anything or living through anything. You almost seek out people that are the same. But sometimes the problem with that, if you have two musicians, like I never found that it worked out for me to try to date another female musician. I never wanted to do that. I never wanted one to feel any kind of competition. It'd be like, that's not fun to come home and feel like you're constantly in competition. Well, I wrote a new song today. What did you do? That kind of thing. And I never wanted to feel that. Although, man, female musicians, can be some of the most attractive people in the world, because it's the same thing probably a girl feels when they see a male musician with talent. It could be just the most beautiful. It's like a songbird, hearing a bird, up in the trees. It's singing the most beautiful song you've ever heard in the world. And I remember one time there was a girl, and I'm not going to name names, but she later on became a famous background singer, and at one time had sang lead, replacing an iconic front woman in a rock band, one of the most legendary rock bands of all time. And she had fronted that band. And she had expressed some interest in me, but she had also been dating a big rock star in the late 80s, right? And I remember she invited me, and her group of girls used to have a group of girls used to call, her bees, right? And they would go out to clubs and stuff like that as a group. I remember they said, "Hey, we're gonna go sing karaoke tonight. Why don't you and get Brad and bring him out?" So we go out to this little karaoke bar in the valley, and we're all hanging out, having drinks, and everybody's chill. And, I'm just trying to be cool, right? I knew this girl was a great singer, and I had heard that she was a singer, right? But, I knew her mostly as this up and coming rock star's girlfriend, but she was interested in me. For some reason, she was always coming around, right? And so, because she had come to a performance and they'd said, "Hey, this rock star's girlfriend wants to meet you." Okay. So that's an interesting thing, right? But we go to this karaoke thing. They invite us out. It's probably about 5 or 6 girls and me and another dude, right? And we go to this karaoke place out in the valley, and, they're all signing up to sing, and I'm kind of feeling out the whole thing and just trying to be cool, right? Trying to hang out and be cool. And this girl gets up and she sings. The girl that was interested in me, she gets up and she sings Barbara Streisand, I think it was, the song Evergreen. And she sang it, and she sounded so amazing. And I'm not like I really wasn't that familiar with the song, but it was a serious, it's not a song. It's not like getting up and singing Cameo Word Up, where you can kind of just have fun with it. It was serious singing. And I heard this girl sing, and I immediately looked at my friend and goes, "Hey, let's get out of here." And I think it was intimidating, hearing how good she was and realizing this is not a bird that's going to want, to be in my cage. This is not a bird that anybody can contain. And I ended up running into that girl. She ended up moving to Nashville and ended up, crashing at her place a couple times, many decades, a couple decades later, right? But I had always known, I remember one time spending the night at her place, and the next morning she picks up the phone and she's talking to somebody, and she's talking about another celebrity that, oh, he really likes me and all this stuff. And I'm like thinking like, hello, I'm here, and like I said, I knew it was a bird that was always going to be flying around other cages. And it wasn't something that I could contain, because I wasn't a big star. I wasn't a big celebrity. And I may have had talent enough that the bird would show interest in me, but I didn't have enough going on to, to keep, keep someone like that around. So you kind of feel like, this person's out of your league. And, frankly, if you're hanging out with somebody and they're talking about somebody else that they're interested in, it's not that serious. And so you could honestly say someone like that is just like every other musician that, were just like us. That's why, I wouldn't want to date a musician, because, hey, they got to hustle. If they meet some famous person, or they got to do that, they're going to have to go and do that, and because they think it can help their career. That's the reality of it, man. You can't take somebody like that serious. And I think that's why a lot of musicians have trouble. We either attract the crazy ones, the wild ones, the ones that are going to cause us problem and knock on your door at 3 a.m. and drive you absolutely nuts and, ghost you and then blow your phone up at, 2 in the morning and say they don't ever want to see you 1 minute and the next minute they're knocking on your door. I want to come in. I'm sorry. And, they're doing all kinds of, things on the side that are not good for their health and not good for your health. And maybe they're a bad influence on you. And that can be the reality of our line of work, is we attract people like that. And that is, that's a tough thing, man, because it doesn't make it easy on relationships. It doesn't make it easy to have healthy relationships and be with somebody that will treat you good. It can be very hard. So it can be very difficult to have a good relationship and be a musician and have healthy relationships, because what we often attract is either the unattainable, the slightly deranged, the slightly crazy, the wild ones, the late nights, the partiers. Those are the kind of people that you can attract. And every now and then you might attract somebody that's way out of your league. I'm lucky that I married a normal girl who really wasn't a rocker per se, but she understands what I went through on the road because she saw me on the road. She saw me on the tour bus, just bottling out on whiskey, drinking whiskey straight out of the bottle, and I had my beard, and I was a crazy wild man. And now I'm more like my younger self now. I'm clear-eyed and I'm a different person. But man, it can be very difficult. And I understand, it's not easy being a musician and finding a relationship that's real and that can last a long time. Man, it can be very, very hard.